Welcome to yet another Divi tutorial by the Divi Engine team. You know me, this is Roby, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of a cheat by highlighting all we've learned so far on how to add custom post types and custom fields to Divi without spending a single dime. If you haven't checked that out yet, you'll find all the links in the description of this video. And now for the but, and hey, get your mind out of the gutter there. But then I'm going to show you how to do all of that and then some using Divi Machine in much less time. Yeah, I'm excited also, so let's get to it. All right, guys, so we're going to do a quick recap here of everything that we've learned so far using just Divi. No paid plugins whatsoever, free, mahalo, nothing gratis, totally free. So what do? We went through and we wrote out a very detailed post about what custom post types are and what advanced custom fields are and why you want to use them in your Divi site. Of course, custom post types allow you to extend the type of content that you build on your Divi site, and it's especially good for content that's going to be replicated multiple times. Now, this might be a real estate listing for a property, a used car, maybe it's a team member. There's a lot of different ways that you can do that. Now, Advanced Custom Fields, of course, is a free plugin we use. There is a paid version, but you can get pretty far with the free version that allows you to add fields to these custom post types without needing to code or do anything like that. It's a very useful way to extend your site and make sure that you build bespoke Divi themes. So what did we do? We defined it, and then we started talking about adding custom post types with code. We walked you through step by step through a generator, how to go and generate your own custom post type code. We used recipes as an example, and then displaying it on the site in a very rudimentary, simple way. After that, we taught you how to use advanced custom fields, but we took you from the install down to the very simple configuration, and then again, adding those fields to our recipe. We added ingredients and we added the time to cook. And it was a pretty simple process, but very useful to learn. It's a pretty scary concept when you don't know what these things are. So, and then we rounded off our Divi tutorials with styling custom post types and the advanced custom fields using the Divi theme builder. That took you through how you go about looking up your custom post types, what modules to use, and all of that fun stuff. If you haven't checked it out, I mentioned this before, these videos will be linked in the description of this video, but it was a lot of good information that helps you take your Divi skills to the next level by utilizing custom post types. I remember when I was running an agency and the first time that I learned using these, it really was a game changer for the type of clients I could approach, the type of websites I could build, and just to market myself as more of a developer than a page builder user. It really was a big turn, and I know you guys will benefit from that also. And now, why did I teach you guys all this stuff over the last 4 tutorials that we've done? Well, let me tell you. I am going to show you today how to utilize one of our plugins, Divi Machine, to do all of that stuff, but faster and better and expand on it. So without wasting any time, for today's tutorial, you're definitely going to need Divi Machine purchased, so you need a license for that. So if you haven't purchased it yet, definitely go ahead and buy your license. You won't look back. So without further ado, why don't we get started by adding custom post type in the next step. All right, guys, so let's get started on the back end of our Divi site. Here I'm logged into a pretty clean install. I've got installed. Previously, WooCommerce was activated. That's irrelevant, but I've got Divi Machine activated. My license is in there. And the way I'm going to be adding a custom post type, we will be using that same example we've been using, which is recipes. I'm going to just go over here to Divi Engine and then go down to Add, Edit, Post Types. Now, all I do is I just click on Add New, and then I will just type in recipes. Now, what it's going to do from that, it's already going to generate my post name type, my slug, and then I can add a description, and I would say collection of recipes, and that's it. We're gonna do the same as we've done in that generator before. You can decide, is it public, queryable, does it show in the admin sidebar, where do you want it to show, below posts? Yeah, that's fine with me. And what icon do we want to use? Now, a little bit different here. You need to go to this site And then you need to go select what icon you want to use. And let's see, let's say document. I think that's kind of closest to a recipe. And then you just select this text here, and that is the code for your icon. So just come back here, I put that in there, and it's going to use that icon. Now, do I want it in the admin bar? Yeah, let's leave it. And then show in navigation menus, we'll just leave it as is. Taxonomies, what taxonomy does it use? Yes, it's going to use categories and tags. And now you choose what type of fields does it support. We're going to add comments in there. And yeah, that's pretty much it that we need in there. We don't need Gutenberg for this one, so we'll leave that on disabled. Prettify the URL. We'll just leave it as is. Exclude from search. We don't want to exclude it. Enable archives, yes. And pretty much all the other settings you're going to leave at default. Now here's the labels again. The plural is recipes, menu name recipes, admin bar name. And one thing we just want to make sure is that everything looks the way that we want it to look. And if you want, for some whatever reason, it to say something else, you can go ahead and do that right here. But we're pretty happy with that. Now you can do other things like add tags to it. We're not going to do that. We're just going to publish it. And now, as if by magic, here on the left-hand side, we have our recipes right underneath posts as promised. All recipes, add new categories and tags. Super simple, much easier than going on a generator site, adding a bunch of code to your site and getting it done. So what took us 20 minutes in that other tutorial literally takes you 2 minutes in Divi Machine. It's super useful and very easy to use. And now next up, we're going to go ahead and talk about the advanced custom fields. This is going to mirror pretty much exactly what we did before. But what we're going to do a little bit differently is we're going to expand on that because we're going to be utilizing some Divi Machine features that will make a huge difference for your site. So let's go ahead and do that in the next step. Alrighty, so now we're going to be adding some advanced custom fields. Like I said, I already have the plugin installed. You can see it here with the custom fields in the sidebar. If you don't know how to install this or you're a little bit worried about what to do, check the video that covers that in the description, and that will tell you step by step how to do all of this from scratch. But let's go ahead and click on it. So, and for today, we are going to be adding two groups. We're going to be adding a recipe metadata that's going to contain prep time, cook time, and servings. And then we're also going to have a field group called nutrition for those all-important details for the ladies and the men and for everybody that wants to be healthy. Calories, fat, protein, carbs. Those are the ones we're going to be using, but you can, of course, add as granular of a detail there as you like. So I'm going to click on Add New. I'm going to go in here and say Recipe Meta. And now we want to say, okay, what post type are we assigning this to? It's going to be our recipes. And that's pretty much the only setting that we touched down here. So we're just going to go ahead and add some fields. So we're going to add our first field. And the first field label will be cook time. And it's going to generate a field name from that, so you don't need to worry about that. And we need to tell it what type of field are we generating. And this is going to be a range, as you know, we wanted to tell the user, give a nice little slider that they can use. And then we just say, add the amount of time it takes to cook. I mean, it's pretty explanatory, but yeah, now. We're not going to make it required. Just makes it easier for testing when we go through that. And default value, we'll just say it's 0. Minimum value is going to be 0. Maximum value is, of course, we can probably put 1,000. If something takes more than 1,000 minutes, it's probably not worth eating. And we're going to put the step sizes in 5 minutes. So prepend, you can say whatever you want at the front of it. Append, it means it's going to put it at the end. We're going to put a space and then type in minutes. There we go. We're not going to be using conditional logic here. I'm pretty happy with that. So let's go to the next field. So we just say add a field again. And now we are going to, oh, I actually did this the wrong way around. I just noticed. I put cook time up here. I meant to put prep time. I'll put prep time done here, and then we'll just drag it over. Probably good for you to see that as well. So prep time. That's going to generate. It's going to be another range field. And then we're just going to say, how long does it take to prepare before cooking? There you go. Not required. Default value 0. Maybe something doesn't require prep time. And we're going to put the maximum value to 1,000 and step size to 5 again. And again, space minutes for the append. And that's it. Last thing, we're going to add servings. So we will just say servings. And that's going to generate the name. We will make this a number. And then how many people does this recipe feed? There we go. Default value is going to be 1. Placeholder text, we don't really need that. And then what we're going to do is append. We're going to put a space, servings. There we go. Minimum value, 1. Maximum value, my goodness, I'm going to put 99 because I don't know what you all going to be doing with this, but we'll have it in there. And we're going to put 1 as the step size. And that's pretty much it. So we're going to say add field. And now, since we have all 3 fields in there, we're going to go ahead and publish this. Oh, there's 1 extra field down here that doesn't belong. I'm going to delete that, remove. And now what I can do is I can go ahead and pull prep time to the number 1 slot, as that should probably be shown before the cook time. And we're good to go. We've got our first group added. I'm just going to update that since I changed the order there. It's updated. And now let's go back and add another field group by clicking add new there. And now we're going to add nutrition. So we can all look good. Right. We need to tell it again. This is for recipes. And we'll add a new field. First field we'll add here is the big daddy of fields for nutrition, calories. And this will be a number. And do we use a range? Do we use a number? Let's just use a number because sometimes people want it to be hyper specific. This is easier if we do it that way. And I'm just going to be funny and say, how bad is this for you? There we go. And default value will be 0 calories. Placeholder, I'm not adding anything for that. And as an append, because we're putting it at the end, it's going to be calories. And minimum value, we're going to be 0 for those eating air. And my goodness, what country are we in? What's the maximum value of calories per serving? Let's go with 10,000 in case this might be a swimmer or something. We're going to make the step size 1 because if we want to include all calorie sizes, can't discriminate here. And maybe what I'll do with the append here is say calories per serving. And I think that would be good for that one. So let's add another field. And now we want to say the fat, because the fat is what makes it taste good, baby. And that'll be a number again. And here we'll just say how much fat is in here. And then we will again go with default values. It's going to be 0. Placeholder, I'm going to leave that out for the time being. Append. Now, fat is usually measured in grams. So I'm going to put G, or maybe we'll just do space grams. Why not? And then the minimum value is going to be 0.0. Maximum value, let's say 1,000 grams. I don't know. And step size is going to be 0.1 because we want to be able to step in small amounts here because some dishes have very little in there and step up by those decimals. And that's that for that one. So let's add the next one. Next up, we've got the protein for the bodybuilders out there. And we generate that again. Number. How swole does this dish make you? Why not? And then we go with default value 0 and append, we'll say grams again, and then minimum value, again 0.0, and we will go with maximum of 1000.0. And of course, the step size 0.1. Bam, got that one in there. And now we're down to the last one, which is going to be the carbs, the evil carbs, but they're so good for you. So tasty, but so bad, actually. Let's go and add the number again. We're going to say how many carbs. I'm not going to be funny this time. I'm going to keep it serious for a minute. How many carbs are in here? I'm very inconsistent, as you guys can tell, but hey, it's for fun. 0.0, default value, append, space grams, minimum value 0.0, maximum 1000.0, step size 0.1. Bam, we're done. And yeah, so let's go ahead and publish this field group. And just when I come back here, just verifying we've got these two in here. We're good to go with our fields. And that was pretty simple using advanced custom fields. You've watched me do it in the other tutorial that we've done in installing and configuring advanced custom fields and using it with just vanilla Divi. This is the Divi Machine way, the better way. And in the next step, we're going to start getting into a little bit more fun stuff where we'll start covering adding some recipes so that we can go ahead and build out some loops, and you're going to learn all about them in a little bit. Alrighty, so far we've covered two tutorials that we've done previously in maybe 10, 15 minutes, maybe. I think it's shorter than that because we added more fields and so forth. But anyway, we're on to some more fun stuff. We're going to start adding some recipes to the page, to the site actually. So we can add some custom post types. So I've got my recipes here. I'm going to click on add new. And then I am not going to get super creative right now because I'm going to be adding, I think, about 11 or 12 of these things so that I can show you some cool features later. So I'm going to step it through with you for the first one. And then as if by magic, I sneakily installed a duplicator plugin. I'm going to duplicate and modify some settings on these, but we'll be going hyperspeed then, so you don't need to sit through all that nonsense. So I'm going to say recipe number 1. Let's do it that way. And we're going to put some text in here because it's going to be the contents of the recipe, so all the steps and fun stuff like that. I am a lazy person, so I generated some lorem ipsum text here. I'm going to go ahead and copy one paragraph. I'm going to come back and paste it in there. Now, what you can do here, of course, is you can actually activate the Divi Boulder on this page, and you can get all crazy with the way this looks. To do that, if it's not already active, you go to Divi Theme Options, you come in here, you go to Boulder, and here you can see you can activate the Divi Boulder on our custom post type. It's really cool. We're not going to do that today because we're showing you some functional steps to building awesome sites, but it's important that you know that in case you need to do that. Anyway, so here we are back. Now we go through our nutrition information. How bad is this for you? I'm going to say this is 999. So just under that 1,000 calorie mark, we'll say 5. How swole is it going to make me? Oh, very swole. 100 grams of protein, baby. And then how many carbs? You can see how this one, well, this one will actually also step in 0.1. The only difference here that I did, I put the default value as just a 0 instead of 0.0 as I did here. But you can see when we step up, it does it in those small amounts. We'll just be, say, 12.7, whatever. Then we've got the recipe meta. You see this cool slider. It goes up in 5 each time. How many minutes does it take? This dish takes 15 minutes to prep and let's say 45 minutes to cook. And that's going to be for a grand total of 2 servings. How fantastic. And that's it. No, just kidding. We need to add a featured image. Now, I already uploaded some delicious food images here, and I'm just going to start from the left. And as I'm going through this, we'll add them all in. You are not going to have to sit here and watch me do this. Lucky you. Now we can go ahead and add some recipe tags. I'm just going to go by the picture each time. So I'm just going to say this is a fish dish. And for the reason of just kind of, defining something that we're going to be using later. And you'll see all about that. We'll just add that tag. So now we know this is a fish dish. And that is goodness. Oh, I enter a valid value, blah, blah, blah. Nearest two values are, what did I do here? Calories per serving. Let's troubleshoot this together. I don't want to cheat. So it says this issue here with this value. I am going to save it as a draft. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to advanced custom fields because I did something funky with that calories field, I guess. So let's see here. The default value is 0, placeholder, prepend, calories per serving, minimum, maximum. Oh, I put the step size as 10. That's why. Silly me. Step size is 1. And I'll come back and I'll update this. It's updated. Let's go back to our recipes. Let's edit this draft. And let's publish it. Boom, problem solved. And that was not planned, guys. That was completely an accident. And I'm not very smart. So the fact that I fixed this means that you can overcome any problem you face in here. So anyway, I'm going to go into Hyperdrive now and make a bunch of copies of this to have a bunch of recipes in our database. So hang in there. We're going to be right back. Phew, guys, and there you have it. I know this was only a couple seconds to make 14 delicious recipes for our recipe site. So next up, we're going to be taking a look at how we are going to go out and build some loops to show our recipe cards. We'll take a look at what it looks like before, and then we're going to take a look at what it looks like to build it with Divi Machine and make it look fantastic. Let's get to it. Alrighty, so here I have an archive page I quickly hacked together just using the Divi blog module. You already know how to put this page together if you follow along with the other videos linked in the description of this video using just Divi. You can see that you have two styles. Now, what is a loop? Let me start there really quickly. Basically, a loop is how WordPress iterates through multiple posts within a post type. So we have our recipe post, and this layout is called a loop layout or a loop. It consists out of an image. So this is the featured image, the post title. Here it's got some metadata. It's the author as well as the date that it was published. And here it's got an excerpt from the post. Now your control over what this looks like in stock Divi is not great, to be honest. If we scroll down, you see the other view is the list view. And the one at the top here is the grid view. So we're going to go and build out a custom loop layout using Divi Machine. Okay, and so to do this, I need to be in the dashboard of my Divi website. I go to Divi and Divi library. Yeah, we use Divi for this. And we do it in the Divi builder, which is even easier. And we're going to go ahead and click Add New. And then we will say recipe loop. And you just give it like a normal name that makes sense to you. And now you don't want to select a module for this because we'll be adding multiple modules. You want to select something like either a row, a section, or a layout. I like to use layout because it gives me more flexibility and more control of what happens on the page. So I'm going to go ahead with layout and then maybe add a category, and I will just say recipes just for posterity. It's just to stay organized, and then hit submit. And of course, since we're building our own thing, we're going to say start building from scratch. And then we're here. Now, we can do this in a few different ways. I thought that maybe some sort of a list layout, or maybe if we want, we can do a card layout. That's really up to you guys as you go through it. I'm going to stick to building out a card layout. So for a card layout, we're just going to want to add one column here, because what we're going to do essentially is we're going to take this card here, this loop layout, and just make it look much better. So coming back here, the first module that we'll add is an image module. Well, not that image module though. If we scroll down, you see Divi Machine here, and we're going to select the thumbnail option, which the thumbnail pulls the featured image or whatever image you designate. So we're going to go with that. And you'll see that this is Visual Builder compatible for the most part. It's not 100% Visual Builder compatible, but you get to at least see somewhat what your page is going to look like. Now, you can add placeholders and stuff like that. I'm not going to get too much in the different settings of these modules because they're all in the documentation detailed very nicely. So we're just going to say enable title tag. No, I don't want that. And then we can select image style. We can take that overlay off, and you'll see if we save that and go to the page and then Visual Builder, what do we want to look at? Well, we're going to look at recipes here since that's what we're working on. And this is just for preview purposes, by the way. And yeah, that looks good. And that's the image. And we're not going to do anything else to it. There's another image style called flip. We're not interested in that for this purpose. So we're just going to go ahead and save that. Now, you know, if you think about a typical recipe listing, the next thing you'll probably see is the title of the recipe. So I can go type in title, and then there's post title, Divi Machine. And it's going to pull in example post 1, which is essentially our recipe. If we just go here and just tell it, we want our previews to show recipe related content. And then we can say what type of tag do we want it to be. Well, H2 is probably better since we'll probably have a title on the page that says recipes or whatever. So, and then we want the title, of course, to link to our single page so that everything links to the recipe, essentially. And I'm not going to mess with the design right now too much. We're first going to get everything on here that we want. So I'm going to say OK. Now, next up, usually we have some metadata. And all I'm going to do for this, I'm going to type repeater, and you're going to see why. It's a special module in Divi Machine that lets you show various items and various fields on the page, essentially. So what we're going to do here is say, add a field, and then the repeater custom label is just going to be recipe details. I don't know. And here we're going to select a field. So we've got prep time. That's the one we want. And the default field type, we're just going to keep it to that. And show label, sure, we'll let it do that. We'll let it do all this other fun stuff. And then we can change some specific settings. There's a whole load of stuff that we can do down here. But we're not going to mess with that for now. We'll come back and enhance that later. So that's one field down. Okay, I need to come back in here. Next one we're going to say is cook time. And then we'll, of course, select the cook time field. We're going to keep those settings the same. We'll leave that as is. Oops. And then we are going to add the last one here, which was the servings. So servings. I will skip that stuff that way for the time being and go ahead and save that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to update this really quick because I want us to be able to preview exactly what this is going to look like on the front end, right? So update that, and then I'll be back in 1 second. Okay, so here we have a little hack together archive page that lists everything that we wanted that's in our loop, right? We've got our image, we've got the recipe name, and then we've got the prep time, the cook time, and the servings. And there's a little spacing issue there, and I'll show you later how we fix that. It's not the biggest deal, but good to know that it's working and that we can see it on the front end. And, you know, actually it also substantially already looks better. So let's jump back into the back now. Okay, now before we get started, I want to change two things here on the back end. Here on the front end, you know how this 15 minutes is right bumped up to between the 15 and the minutes. We want to fix that real quick. And then we're also going to add those icons that I talked about earlier at the front. Just makes it look super nice. So let's go back here. And I think first thing that we'll tackle is quickly just fixing those fields. So let's go to the field groups. And for the recipe metadata, do not want to delete that. That was overzealous. Edit this one. And here we have the append feature. Let's just delete that out. update that field. We'll edit cook time. We're going to do the exact same thing. Take that out of there. Update. And I know that I can probably just update at the end. But I like that instant gratification. So servings, bye-bye. And then we're going to look at another way to do that. What we're probably also going to want to do is really quick future-proof our design here. And we're going to get the calories and all that fun stuff. Get it out of there. Oh my goodness. Click the right way, fat. We'll get the grams out of there. We'll go to protein. Now we're doing it the lazy bones way, but if it works, it works. And last one, carbs. Gramos. Hasta luego. And we're going to update that. Great. So I can close this out now. And right back here, let's make this look all pretty. So we're going to open up repeater module here on prep time. We're going to go in and we're going to scroll down. That was a bit fast, but image and icon. Let's say yes. And then we're going to put in time. And we're going to do this like not colored in time icon. We'll select that. We'll go to the cook time. Guess what we'll do here? Actually, let's see. Maybe there's a oven icon. Is there an oven icon? Is there a cook icon? There's a cook icon, sort of. I don't love it. So let's just go back to time and use the colored in icon. And then lastly, for servings, we will go down image and icon. Yes. And dish. No. Plate. Food. Okay, there we go. Servings. That looks good. Super. So let's update this really quick and see what we did. Okay, on the front end, refresh. Okay, we've got icons here. That looks pretty sweet. But now we're missing that context at the back, right? 15 what? 15 hours? I don't know. Let's fix that. Coming back in here on the repeater field, prep time, and it's got a fancy suffix. So we're going to say minutes. And we'll do the same for cook time. Suffix. Sounds like a county in England. Minutes. All right. And then the last one. Suffix and servings. Bam, bam. Thank you. WordPress. Update. Refresh. And there we go. We are back at the same square one. So, what I forgot to do was to go ahead and add a space for that suffix. So, two ways to add the space. You can just do a space. I like to go with the add MBSP semicolon method because sometimes the spaces don't work. Well, actually test it out. I probably should have done this before I came up with this whole tutorial thing, but hey. Can't win them all. Let's just do a normal space there. Normal space here. There we go. There we go. Update. And another quick refresh. Okay, so the spaces actually work. So whether you do the MBSP method or you just do normal space, it's going to work. Cool. So one thing that I'm noticing here is that there's quite a lot of space between these guys, and maybe we want some more space for this metadata. Let's go back here. And the way we're going to do this, we're going to edit our row. We're going to go to the design settings, and we're going to go to sizing. We're going to say custom gutter. And let me just make this visual so we can kind of see this happen. Custom gutter, make it down to 0. That's going to control the space between elements and columns. We're going to make our width 95%. You see how that makes it wider? And we're going to put the max width up to the max, 2560 pixels. Save that real quick, and then we'll pop on the front end. We'll refresh the page. And now we can see things are starting to look a little bit better here as far as the organization goes. Maybe we want to see if we can get more space for these guys. But you see, everything's a little bit more bunched up now. And that's going to look better down the road because we're still going to add a little bit of text over here at the bottom, which is basically going to include our nutritional values. What do we want to do? Let's put a divider module here. Now, of course, you can put an excerpt there as well if you wanted to, and that fun stuff. I'm just trying to show you guys some of the things that you can't do in regular Divi. So let's go again with the repeater module. Get that in there, and then we'll start adding fields again. First one, calories, and we'll select the field, of course, calories and nutrition. There we can go and check all this fun stuff. I'm not going to modify that because if I say calories, that's just going to sound silly. So just a custom label, leave blank for the default. Yeah, we can use the default in this one, can't we? Oops, I just went out. Let's go in again. And the next one is going to be fat. We'll select the field, fat. And we'll leave it at default as well. And that should take us back. I don't know it's closing us out, but next one is going to be carbs. Well, actually, the next one was protein. And we can reorganize these, but my OCD taking over a bit. Cool, so we've got that in there now. We're going to stick to that stuff, and we'll go back in one more time. Last one is going to be carbs. And we'll select it. We'll save that. We'll update this, and let's see what happened. Okay, so we've got our divider in there. Calories, fat, protein, carbs. All right, that worked out, right? Looks pretty good, but let's maybe just add the context here for the fat, the protein, and the carbs to have the grams in there as well. I think that would be helpful. So let's jump back in the back end. Alrighty, and so from here, I'm going to make one quick change here with this repeater field. What I wanted to do is look at the grid options. You can control so much in Divi Machine. It's insane. You can control the gutter width and all that fun stuff. Here, I just want to say that for this particular field, we're going to add it, just change it to 3 because why? Because we have only 3 items there. So they can sit nicely next to each other. Now, one thing we noticed, of course, also is that this line is a little bit high up. So we'll add some padding to it for the top. So if I come in here, divider, design, line, it's got all this fun stuff. But what we're looking for is spacing. And maybe we'll just add 15 pixels of top padding. And it's a lot of refreshing, going back and forth. But, you know, it's nice to get that gratification, seeing the progress of what we're doing. And that's starting to look really good. Wow, I'm actually quite impressed with what this is doing already. The last thing we want to do is just add that grams. And then I think we're done with the recipe cards for the page. Again, you know, I'm showing you the functional way to build these things out. I'm not trying to make it look pretty. That's up to you designers out there that are a million times better at doing this than I am. I can build that out, but pretty ain't my thing. So we're back here in the ACF settings for our nutritional values. For calories, we don't need to set that. So we're just going to go click the back arrow. We'll go on fat and come down here to the suffix. I'm just going to put a G. I think everybody knows what a G is. And it's not just Snoop Dogg. And we will add that to all these values that relate to grams. So I'm going to put a G again. And then for the last one, carbs, we will put a suffix of a G, and then I think we're going to be good. Maybe what I'll do is just change some of the padding here for the section and the rows. So let's just make this margin top and bottom, padding top and bottom 0s, and same with the row, because our page will actually take care of that spacing so that our archive module will give us some control over that. So there we've got that. And then maybe just on the row. Well, actually, let's look and see what happens here when we do this. So everything's a little closer to each other. Maybe we want to delineate these cards a little bit so that they're not so scrunched up against each other. So let's go ahead and just go back here for a moment. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some box shadow to this item, which is the section. And it's very hard to kind of see what you're doing, you know, admittedly from this view, just because it's so massive. And on the page, it's actually going to look much smaller one way to just kind of give yourself a preview is just go to the mobile view, and it'll give you a little bit more of an insight as to what that's going to look like. So I've got the box shadow. Let me just go on border also, add 25 pixels there, maybe 15 instead, and just get that like that. And then also, I know that we already played with the padding, but now that we've got that box shadow, we want to create a little bit more room for ourselves. So with the padding, I'm going to go with 25 all around on the top and bottom, and then 15 on the sides. I think that's starting to look much better if I save that. Now we've got proper recipe cards, right? I think that looks awesome. I am super stoked on this. So here we've got all this fun stuff in here. All right, guys, and before I move on and show you some of the other stuff you can do with this, we're going to enhance this page further. I want to show you that you can also utilize regular Divi cut post types. So you can change the way blog modules, the blog layouts look, for example, the archive pages. So I'm going to come back to the back end. I'm going to click here on dashboard. I'm going to go to my pages, and here I have a blog archive for just regular old Divi. You'll see the composition as we're familiar with them already. But what I want to open up here is show you one that I built earlier for just using Divi Machine again and the modules that come with it. It's obviously a lot more appealing. And I see this layout requested a lot, that you can create these different things. You can really control the way it comes out. You can make these metadata parts a little bit more conversational. Just so much more that you can do with this. And it is just a really cool way to showcase the abilities that you'll find in Divi Machine. So anyway, I digress. What I wanted to get to eventually here is talk about this page here that doesn't look nearly as nice as this one I spent more time on. Again, we're showing you the function, not so much the form of what you can do. So anyway, we're going to be adding some filters to this page so that we can go through, and maybe we don't have enough time to cook for 45 minutes, or maybe we want a recipe that's for one person. Maybe we want to limit the amount of calories that we're intaking. We're going to add some Ajax filters to do that for us. It's a really cool way to showcase things and, you know, just really get to see all the features that you'll find in Divi Machine. So let's get to that. Alrighty, so we want to go ahead and enhance this okay-ish looking archive page that we created for our recipes, aptly titled Our Recipes. So let's hop in the back end of our Divi site here, and we are going to go to pages, and I previously created this page called Our Recipes. I'm going to edit it, and then we'll see some stuff. Now, we already covered how to create this page here using just Divi modules. Now we're using, of course, our archive loop module that you'll find in Divi Machine. And just looking at the settings really quick, we've got our recipes selected here as the post type that we're looking at. And we have that loop that we created in the previous step selected here in custom loop layout. That's how we assign it. So if we have different loop layouts, they'll show up here. You'll see that blog loop layout that I used for the other post. So just keep in mind that you can do a lot of different things here. One feature I want to show you as we kind of start kicking this off is to go here through extra options. We've got grid options that you can look at, and you have you can control the amount of columns. You can change the gutters. You can do so many different awesome things. Even within the loop options, you can go ahead and change post offsets. You can do the filtering and put queries in here about the type of posts you want it to display, and so forth. There's just really a lot of different things. So yeah, it's almost overwhelming at times, even for me that use it all the time. But one thing I really want to show you is if you go on element options here, we can change the way that our extra posts load on the page. So if I come here right now, I'm going to close out this one because we already looked at these. We have all of our posts here on the page, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. There's only 10 of them. There's 14 posts. So right now there's no pagination. So you can select pagination, of course, and then, you've got all this fun options here. And let me just save that, then I'll show you what that looks like. So when we scroll to the bottom, you've got the pagination down here, so you can control, being able to view the extra pages. Let me come back though. And here's the cool thing I want to show you. We can actually do that infinite scroll thing that is a dopamine-filled way. Just scroll and scroll and scroll, new things will show up. We go to element options to do that. We're going to set it to infinite scroll. And you can show result count and all that fun stuff. We're not going to worry about that. But another thing that I'll do, though, is control the amount of posts that are on the page. Year right here. We're just going to say, let's say 4. And update. All right. So 4. And now it's loading. And then 4 more. Loading and 4 more. Loading and 4 more. And there you go. So you can see how that's kind of a useful way to not have everything load on the page, but also just give you users an easy way to explore the content that you've created for them. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and switch that back to just be the regular layout that we have there that we love. Take this post count out. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this post count 20. Just keep them all on one page, because that's going to help me demonstrate something else for you in a little bit. So load more button, whatever. We'll update that just so that it's updated before we get cracking with Divi Ajax filters, which is very exciting. So we need to fit those Ajax filters on the page. So we're going to make this a 2-column, and we'll give the Ajax filters a little bit of room here on the left-hand side. Yep, we have to move you over. There we go. Now what we'll do is we're going to add a new module. And if you type in filter, you'll see the filter posts module. That is our Ajax filters. Now, right now, this module is not Visual Builder compatible, but exciting news. We are currently internally testing the Visual Builder compatibility with this, making using this so much easier. You're going to love it. Anyway, so how do we use these Ajax filters? Let me show you. We're going to add some fields in here. So the first filter field that we want to add here is going to be, let's just put a search box. Maybe somebody's looking for something specific and they want to search that. So what do we want to search and filter? Well, we're just going to go ahead and search text. Just keep it nice and simple. And then what are we filtering? Well, we're filtering recipes. And then we are actually pretty good on the search options. Now you can go into layout options here. You can control whether it's going to be full width or not. If we're doing a text filter, we can say search recipes over here. That'll be our text placeholder. And let's see what that does on the front end, just so that you guys can see that we actually did do some stuff here. So bam. Now we can go and we can say, I don't know, let's say 5. So it's going to find our recipes that have a 5. And that's going to be a lot of them because we increment by 5. So that was not the best example. Maybe one thing we want to do, though, is give that field a little bit of a background there. So let's do that really quickly. That'll show you also how you can easily style these things. And again, with the update that's coming, you will be able to do that visually. So this becomes a lot easier. We just go to design here. We go to fields, but first, let's just go fields, and then field background color. Let's just give it like an off gray color or off white color, and that'll just create that more visually. So let's add some more fields though. Let's put a range slider for the calories maybe. So let's put in calories, and here we go with what do we want to filter? Well, we're going to filter advanced custom field. We're going to search recipes, and then we need to specify the name of the field. And guess what? That's calories. And filter type. Now this is important. It's going to be a number range. And then the filter value type is numeric because we are using calories. And I think that is it. There might be something else we need to add to that, but let's see how that is going on the front end. And just mind you, you can really go ahead and you can change all of these different settings. So here we've got it. It's going from 100 calories to 10,000. But this is, we don't have an end and start range. Well, it starts at 0. So let's say anything up to 600 calories and hit search. And with the power of Ajax, of course, it updates. And here we have everything that's under 600 and some calories over here. It's pretty cool. And see how responsive and quick that worked? It's amazing. I love it. Okay, so now here in the back end, I see one thing that I wanted to change here on the front end. It was the fact that I actually made a mistake with our fields. So we're going to come back to the fields here really quick. We're going to go to nutrition. And instead of having these be number fields, we're going to be changing them to range fields. That is something that we want to do because that will help us interact on that Ajax search field a little bit better. And you'll see how in a second. Let me just quickly update these other fields. Range, range. We've got our steps still are all good. We just need to have these all be range fields. Bam. Okay. Update that. And then we'll quickly go back to our page, our recipes page. And now we're ready to play. So let me refresh this because just by changing that's going to make a little bit of a change. You can see here, now we can set the ending range and the beginning range. So we can go and pull each side in so you can have it between different things. Isn't that cool? Just makes it a little bit easier for you to be able to control this field. It is something I really like within Divi Ajax filters. So that easily we fix that up. So let's just open up here and just look at some more of the settings here that you can, kind of tinker with and mess around with because there's so much that you can do with it, to be honest. So let's go down here to range filter options. Now you can say range from this to that. I mean, of course, I was joking with the really large amount. Let's just make this 3,000 for now. Calories will go up by 1. You can change the way that it looks. You can make it modern. You can make it square. You can change the colors. You can hide the labels. You can purify the ranges. And there's really just, there's a ton of stuff that you can do here. We're not going to mess with too much of it. So let's go ahead and add another one. And we'll just say that we want to control, take a look at the different tags, right? So main ingredient is what we'll say. And what we're going to be filtering here is tags. We're going to look at recipes. And then we'll just make this a checkbox. Why not? It'll be filtering strings, of course, and that should be good on this one. And we can even show filter count. So it'll show you how many of each item are in there. So let me save that, update that, and let's go to the front end. And there you go. Yeah, very easily and quickly. And you can see that even this layout kind of updated here with this different view here. And you can go, I want to see all the beef. That's under 622 calories. And they say, oh, well, beef is very fatty, so it's going to be more. So we search it again. And here we go. We added more calories, and now we can see all the beef products. It's very cool. You can switch it to fish instead. And then it'll display all the fish dishes. How cool and awesome. And how quickly does that work? It's so cool. And just another really cool thing that you can do here, and we're almost done with this, is you can set how it updates. And let's just say it updates every single time that we go ahead and we select the field. So let's update that. So instead of having to hit that search button, we can control it a little differently. You see, now it's only got a reset button here. So if I change that to chicken, just by changing that field, this updates. Very cool stuff. And that's that, guys. You have done so much today. This is maybe one of the longest tutorials I've ever done. We have covered everything that we learned using Divi and doing a lot of the stuff we did today without plugins. But, of course, some of the things you just can't do without a plugin. That's why Divi Machine was created. You guys asked for it. We created it. And here it is. It's a really great plugin. We added custom post types with Divi Machine in just a couple minutes. We added the advanced custom fields, which is something we already showed you how to do. We added up a whole bunch of different recipes so we can show you what we're doing here. But then the real nitty gritty here is we created a custom loop for your recipes. And I hope your minds are working like crazy about the different things you can do with this. It really changes the game in how you display your data on the page. And it's a feature that you can utilize in both Divi Machine and BodyCommerce. So we do implement this wherever we can and where it makes sense. And we showed you how to hack together a quick archive page. But then one of the coolest features is the Divi Ajax filters. And it's just really incredible how quickly this works. Our team, Jeff, Peter, Brent, those guys, they have put a lot of work into this. And it is really one of my favorite things to use when I'm building sites using Divi Engine product. Now, what we want to take a look at also, we're not done yet. I just want to show you a couple more things that you can do with Divi Machine that you might be interested in. So let's take a look. Now, one of the use cases that I talked to you guys about before is having a real estate site. Now, this is one of our free layouts that you get with Divi Machine. As you can see, a much more capable designer put this together for you. And you can even click in here. And when we're talking about single page layouts, I showed you how to do that with the Divi Theme Builder before. And much like we put that loop together, you can use Divi Machine modules to put together beautiful single post pages using those modules. And it's really incredible. But the thing I want to kind of highlight here is that with Divi Machine, you can also create link post types. So in this scenario of this real estate agent website or house listing website, we can create link post types of agents, like Mr. Solomon Fields here, to the actual property. So you can have, one to many. One agent can have multiple properties and it can be linked that way. It's just a really great way that you can build way more bespoke sites that are a lot more dynamic. And you can see these beautiful search filters built here that also just blows my mind at what these guys can do, that are a little bit more design oriented than I am. But, it gives you kind of an idea of the different things you can hack together with Divi Machine and do it very eloquently. The other thing I want to show you also on this demo that's available for download is the fact that you can have galleries, which is typically with Advanced Custom Fields plugin only available with the Pro feature. But with Divi Machine, you can have beautiful galleries just like this on your site using the free version. And if you check our documentation, we get into how exactly you would go about doing that. But it's a really cool feature that circumvents you from needing to purchase the Advanced Custom Fields Pro plugin. And then one more feature that I love is here on our events site is the maps integration with Divi Machine. So think about events. This is an event website, also a layout available for you to download if you own Divi Machine. But we've got map clustering here. And when I zoom in, you can see that it pulls out all these individual events for you. So you can use this for a site that might have, properties again. So if you have rentals or, properties for sale, that's how you could do it. With an event site, you can do that. Maybe you've got a business with a lot of locations. You want to display it on your contact us page or your locations page. This is a great way you would do that. So it's a really cool feature that I think you would love using. I think it's a really cool one. And this clustering is a newer feature that we added to the plugin fairly recently. So guys, I could go on all day about Divi Machine and the various features. You've been really patient with me going through this. And I really hope that you found value in learning how to do all these different things with Divi Machine. Now, if you stuck around to here and you don't have Divi Machine yet, what are you waiting for? Head over to the site, make that purchase. You won't look back. You will be able to charge more for the sites that you build because of the dynamic nature and the complex nature of the type of sites you're able to build. It's really incredible. It's a great plugin. And, it's It's actually kind of cheap for what it does. So guys, anyway, that was a lot of words out of my mouth today. I really appreciate you sticking around. As always, drop a comment. Let us know what you think. Definitely like and subscribe the Divi Engine channel because we want to keep bringing content to you. So thank you so much for your time, guys. Again, this was Roby with the Divi Engine team. I'm going to catch you guys real soon in the next video. Bye for now.